John, the Angels look to sweep the Tampa Bay Rays and build on what I think is the greatest week in Halo history. It's been so much fun to watch them play. We're going to recap the game. Plus, John and I will give you 4 prospects that you should watch, and we're going to build a team using players from the 02 team and the 2022 team. And you can play along too. You're Locked On with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening on the audio side, hey, a rate and a review would be great. 5 stars, please. 5 stars. And if you're listening on the video side and watching on the video side, you can subscribe and click the bell on YouTube and be notified every time a new episode hits.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us for this edition of Locked On Angels. You got the Frisch brothers here with you. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
The Super Halo Bros in the house with you for this edition of Locked On Angels. And while we wanted to sweep this series against the Tampa Bay Rays after a spectacular start to the week that began on Sunday with the walk-off and then Shohei's grand slam, and of course, the no-hitter from Reed Detmers, we were not able to sweep the series, Mike. But that's okay. We're all about winning series here. So we took 2 out of 3 from a very tough Rays team. But let's get into some of what happened on Wednesday.
All right, a couple of game notes. There was no Mike Trout, just a regular day off, and he gets really 2 days off because the Angels don't have a game today. And then Austin Romine, I wasn't happy with it either. I wish that he was in the game. And Austin Romine was in the game. He was at catcher. Does he look like a bear? I mean, that beard on that guy.
Grizzly bear.
He's a grizzly bear. He's just intimidating behind the plate. And then Rengifo is playing second base, and Whitefield is in center field. And that's the starting lineup. And then this is one of those games yesterday where they started around 4 p.m., which means that both teams had to deal with the shadows at home plate. And that typically means it's going to be a well-pitched game.
Right.
And then offense will come once the sun sets. And that's exactly what happened, right? Like McClanahan and Ohtani, they pitched a really great game. Ohtani, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, and 2 walks and 5 Ks.
Yeah.
He looked really good. And that 6th inning, here's why. That 6th inning, they came in to check on him because he looked like maybe he pulled something or they saw something, and he talked to them, and then they went back into the dugout, and then you just saw him flip a switch. You saw him go, I'm going to get out of this inning. And then he just dominated the last 2 batters and struck them out. And here's why I think he looked good, because it wasn't like 29 swings and misses Ohtani, but this was an ace of a staff that was keeping the team in the game. And that's exactly what you want, right? Yeah, of course we would want a dominant pitching performance. And last night's game, he was semi-dominant, but the game before, obviously, we have the bar really set high with how Reed Detmers pitched. And so I really liked Ohtani last night. I really liked what he looked like and how he was calm, cool, and collected on the mound, and really didn't make too many mistakes and didn't allow those mistakes to get away from him and kept the Angels in the game.
Yeah, he only gave up that 1 home run to Kevin Kiermaier on a splitter that just kind of hung up in the air. But going back to our conversation yesterday about Ohtani the hitter versus Ohtani the pitcher, sometimes I just get a little bit worried about who we're going to get on the mound with Shohei. Is it Boston Shohei where he's perfect for 5 1/3, or is it a Shohei who's walking guys and can't locate and has a blister on his fingy? You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this question then.
Okay.
What was the big issue with Shohei last night? Like, what if that was Patrick Sandoval? Or what if that was Noah Syndergaard? I think that your narrative would be different, would it not?
I mean, any way you look at it, it's a good outing for Shohei.
Sure.
It's 1 run, and the Angels really should have been able to score, but McClanahan was just spectacular.
He was
they're
really
dealing
good
with the shadows and the sunlight, and you could see the difference between the time that there was sunshine and shadows versus when it was finally covered up. You could see that they were seeing the ball much better after that. But with Shohei, it just feels like it's kind of hit and miss with who's coming up to the mound. And you and I talk about it a lot with the walks. The walks are the issue.
Sure.
With Shohei. And he only had 2 in this game. So maybe I'm just being a complainer. But it really comes down to, I think that you kind of don't know which version of Shohei. Like this is diehard Shohei. He's hanging on to the handles of helicopters and he's jumping off buildings and you're not sure if he's going to escape or not. And John McClane, there you go.
Yeah.
And McClanahan, Shane McClanahan, John McClane. That's what I was trying to do. And so, it's smooth sailing Shohei or it's action hero Shohei where he's hanging on by a thread at times.
I just think, honestly, then you're spoiled, right? Like we're spoiled by Shohei because if Shohei last night is one that you're not too impressed with, you did. If Shohei last night is not one you're impressed with, man, I'll take that Shohei almost every time he pitches.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say I'm not impressed. I just, those moments where he looks not like himself are worrisome, but he got through it and I'll give him credit for getting through that. Absolutely.
He pitched really well. And man, McClanahan really pitched a heck of a game, 7 innings, 3 hits, no walks, and he struck out 11 and he left the game leading 2-0. And then Taylor Ward, who didn't start and they're just giving him an extra day off and he'll really get 2 extra days off. He comes in to pinch hit. And what does he do, John?
Well, he's got some strain in his hamstring or some sort of leg issue. So he decides to hit a home run so he doesn't have to run around the bases.
A 2-run home run ties the game. Right. I'm not running around the bases. And that was incredible. And it was the first actual pinch hit home run for the Angels since 2019. Quick, John, who was it in 2019 that hit a pinch hit home run?
Mr. Walshamania, Jared Walsh. And that was before he was good.
That was before we knew all about him, right?
He was doing the two-way thing in 2019.
Yeah. So then a key moment in that game, once they tied it, they brought in Rysel in the 9th. And you and I've talked a lot. Angel fans know this, that when he comes in a non-save situation, he sometimes is Steve Cishek, right? Like he sometimes just kind of falls apart a little bit, but he really didn't struggle at all in that 9th inning, which is a great sign.
Yeah. And give some credit to Jimmy Herget. They call him the human glitch now, apparently, because he's throwing frisbees out there. I love that.
Yeah.
And for a funky arm angle guy, he's not Steve Cishek. He's not Alex Claudio. He is a different breed, and he's been done really well for us.
Yeah.
The Rays, unfortunately, took it to the 10th inning, and the very first pitch from Aaron Loop, they were able to score the what I called the Rob Manfred ghost runner. Off the immediate double that Loop gave up, which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that. They also added another run off of a stolen base, and then they were able to get a sacrifice fly. So they earned the win. It wasn't the automatic ghost runner kind of win. They
scored 2.
They scored 2, and then we were not able to put any runs across the plate, unfortunately, in the bottom of the 10th. Trout did come in to pinch hit, which was like the 4th time in the game where I was like, is Trout going to pinch hit yet? Is he going to pinch hit?
We're ready.
And he finally came in the 10th and worked the walk, but was not able to, they were not able to get any runs across. Brandon Marsh had a good at bat against Brooks Raley, but ultimately struck out.
Yeah.
But he did put up a fight, which was great to see. So
this was one of those games where you're not too disappointed, right? Because the Angels have really been impressive, especially over this 20-game stretch, John. They went 13-7 without a day off, which huge. I'll take that all day long. 4-2 on this homestand. And just because I was somebody that thought Joe Maddon was brilliant when he walked Seager with the bases loaded. Did you know that the Angels record is 18-8 since he did that, Jonathan?
Well, you know what? If Joe Maddon had put together a different lineup today, they would have been 19-7. So there you go.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, do you think that ghost runner needs to go away?
Oh, 100%. I hate it. I hate it so much. And it was gone for a minute. And then the Players Association decided to bring it back. So that's on them.
I guess because they don't want games going on forever and ever and ever. But
bring them on the 12th or the 13th inning. Like, don't do it in the 10th. Like, we saw the game going, right?
Right.
So I'm just a little bit frustrated with this lineup today because it felt like we kind of gave the game away, especially against somebody like Shane McClanahan, who know is going to be good.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting a day off anyway. And what's the flight to Oakland? An hour?
Right.
Like it's not, They're not flying cross country. So I don't understand why Mike Trout has to be out of this lineup. I do understand that Taylor Ward was working on just feeling better today. He had some tightness, but then he pinch hit and then played right field. So he was well enough to do that. But I don't know. This lineup didn't have Tyler Wade in it to start. And you put in Whitefield, who's a newbie. And of course you can't bring in Chad Wallach because he started the last 2 nights. And so Austin Romine came in, and that was fine. I understand that move, but it just felt like a weird, hey, like, let's get through today kind of lineup.
Yeah. We won the series. We're raising the white flag. We'll give them a shot. And the best part is, I mean, it was 4-2. We were competitive, but I think that you're right with maybe Trout in that lineup, at least. We're
and Rendon didn't help anything either.
No, he needs to bat left-handed.
Yeah. From now on.
From now on. Yeah. All right, coming up on Locked On Angels, John and I are going to build our teams using players from the 2002 team and the 2022 team, and we'd love for you to play along with us. But first, Locked On Angels is brought to you by Athletic Greens. Of course, everybody wants to be healthy. We want better gut health and more energy and optimized immune system, but we don't want to take pills and vitamins every single day. That's just annoying, right? And so what do? This is where Athletic Greens can help. AG1 Athletic Greens is a supplement that actually tastes great. It's mild, it has a tropical taste, and you'll actually look forward to it every morning. So why would you want AG1? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens so that you can start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, your focus, and even aging. And AG1 actually costs less than $3 a day. And you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper, really, than that cold brew habit, that drive-through Starbucks. And it's actually healthier, too. It's also cheaper than buying all of the different supplements all at different times. This is an all-in-one nutritional investment. So go to athleticgreens.com today, and you can start choosing better health. And it gets even better. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 travel packs with your first purchase. And all you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/MLB network. That's athleticgreens.com/MLB network. And you can take ownership of your health today. We appreciate you making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. And now for your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. You get recaps of MLB games with analysis from local experts, taking fans through the season like no other network. And it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
So after last night's, or 2 nights ago, was that 2 nights ago with Reed Detmers?
I know, it feels like it was just yesterday, right?
I'm still but it was really riding 2 nights that high, ago. Man.
Yeah.
With Reed Detmers' outstanding no-hit performance, we got to thinking he's been touted as a highly touted prospect for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's showing signs of who he can be in the major league. So you and I got to thinking, who's next after Reed Detmers? What's next for the young guy? What's the young talent coming up in the Angels system? So you and I want to look at a group of minor leaguers that our listeners should keep their eyes on.
Yeah.
So Mike, why don't you start us out with the Angels' very top prospect?
Okay, but real quick, did you see on Twitter somebody said the one thing that Brad Ausmus did for the Angels was have a losing record in 2019 so we could draft Reed Detmers in 2020? I love that. All right, back to what we're talking about. Sam Bachman actually is our number 1 prospect, and he was our number 1 pick when we picked 20 pitchers and then signed 19 of them. He's 22. He's obviously a pitcher. He had his first career start in Double-A just a few days ago, and he's easing into it. So these numbers aren't like incredibly impressive, but it's a good start for him. He went 3 innings, 1 hit, didn't give up a run, and struck out 1. But his fastball was between 94 and 95 miles an hour, and he topped out at 96. And here's why that's really important, because his slider and change were between 87 and 88 miles an hour. So that 10-mile-an-hour difference is so huge for any batter because you're going to really keep them off balance. And he had a 4-pitch 3rd inning in that
You
game.
love that.
Yeah, so that's a great way to get through an inning. And his delivery, I don't know if you've seen him pitch, John, but his delivery reminds me a bit of Lucas Giolito from the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, he's got a little bit of Lucas in him. And if he ends up being anywhere near Giolito, then we've really got a great prospect and a great pitcher on the way.
Yeah, he was dealing with a little bit of an injury to start this season, so that's why they're easing him back into starting in Double-A. And, that's interesting that you brought up the mile differential on his fastball to his off-speed stuff, because that's kind of an issue with Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning can throw a good fastball, but his slider, which is good, it's very fast. It's got a high velocity.
Not much difference.
It's not much different than his fastball in terms of speed.
Yeah.
And the movement's there, but you really have to have a big differential between your miles per hour on your fastball and your off-speed stuff, because that's how you're going to fool batters, and that's how you're going to be successful. So that's great to hear about Sam Bachman. Let me tell you about the second player that we've picked, Ky Bush.
He's great.
He's 22 years old. He was also drafted in the last draft. Pitcher. He's 2-0 with a 3.65 ERA in Double-A. He's got a mid-90s fastball that also tops out at 96.
Throwing some gas.
That's right. And the change and the slider sit in, get this, the low 80s.
That's good.
And he's got a curveball that he's thrown in the high 70s. So he has a huge speed differential in his delivery between his fastball and his off-speed stuff. He's somebody that we could possibly see, like Sam Bachman, possibly see at some point during the season if the Angels really wanted to. Hopefully it doesn't come to that because of injury, but more because they want to see what these guys got and see what they have in these young arms. So he's somebody that's going to make a great impact in the future for the Angels pitching factory that they have going on in the minors right now. So tell us about the third player, Mike.
Ky Bush's differential in his fastball to curveball is similar to Reed Detmers, because Reed can throw that 75, 74 mile an hour curveball, and that's what kept batters off balance 2 days ago. Man, no, 2 days ago. All right, so player number 3 actually is somebody in Single-A, the 66ers, which is near us here in Southern California. Deshaun Knowles. He's 21. He's an outfielder. And the reason why we picked him is because I had some friends that actually just recently went to the game. They got to meet Knowles, and they said he's just a gentleman, super humble, and he's actually crushing it in Single-A right now. 301, a 430 on base percentage, which is real good, and a 796 OPS. He had a stretch actually where he had 12 total bases in 3 games.
Nice.
And so he's been hot. It'll be interesting to see what he actually can do as they move him up. And being 21 and in Single-A is an indication that maybe they want to have him get some more seasoning and then possibly move him up. And so there may be somebody here that we could see in the future, maybe 2 years, 3 years, possibly next year in spring training at least. But he seems to be a pretty solid outfielder. Again, 21 years old and playing really well. John, tell us about player 4.
Player 4 is Kyren Paris. He's a middle infielder, shortstop, second base. He can do both. He's at the A level right now, and his stats aren't great, but here's what we need to know about him. 175 average, 298 on base percentage, and a 536 OPS. Again, not great numbers, but the last 3 games, he's got more hits and less strikeouts. Now, here's the kicker. He's only 20 years old. He's the youngest player who was drafted in 2019, and he's still developing, but he is somebody that a lot of people have had eyes on for a while because of the potential that's there.
Yeah.
And it never hurts to have a surplus of middle infielders. I know we also have Errol Vera as another middle infield option in the minor league system. But again, Kyren Paris is somebody that people are really excited about. And again, he's got a long road ahead of him, 20 years old. There's plenty of time to work on those fundamentals. But he's a great defensive middle infielder. Can I add one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
As a surprise.
Sure.
Double-A, playing for Rocket City Trash Pandas, Trey Cabbage playing first base. Do you remember Trey Cabbage?
I saw him in spring training.
Yeah. In spring training, and he did really well. Well, he's crushing it right now. And I know that in the majors, we have Jared Walsh at first base. And I have to say, I love what he's doing. But if the Angels need to make a move for a strong starting pitcher, I would not be surprised to see somebody like Trey Cabbage as part of that package.
Cabbage in the bundle?
He would be a part of the Cabbage Patch. He'd be part of the Cabbage Patch, if you will.
Yours is funnier than mine. Okay.
I'm the writer.
Yes, you are.
If you guys want to stay updated on all things Angels minor leagues, there is an unofficial Angels Twitter handle that you should follow.
Yeah.
It is Angels MILB. So Angels Minor League Baseball at Angels MILB. They do a great job of keeping up with all the minor league action. And then friend of the podcast, Jared Timms, is also a great follow. And he's also a really nice guy.
You can actually ask him questions and he'll give you a response
he will.
On certain players. Because he knows. He actually knows because he's watching them right now. Yeah.
But at Jared_Timms, he's great for following for all the minor league news. And he'll keep you posted and updated with who's coming up to help out the Halos next. So stay updated with those two Twitter handles. Again, that's at Angels MILB. And of course, our friend at Jared Timms.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by BetOnline. Check out betonline.net. It's your #1 source for all your betting stats and sports info. You can find the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and, of course, Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. BetOnline is where the game starts.
All right, our final segment for this episode is going to be a fun discussion, Mike, because we are going to compare the 2002 team to the 2022 team and then say, who you got? Who do you want on your team? If you had to draft between these two teams, there's a lot of comparisons between the World Series team and this team. And I think that's a lot of the reason why there's hype behind the current Angels, because there's a lot of flashes of some of the unique qualities of that 02 team that are showing up in the current team. So let's go through and just play a little round of who you got. We'll go position by position, and then we'll talk about it. So how about the first one? Let's start in left field. Do you want Garrett Anderson or Brandon Marsh?
I think, honestly, this is an easy one, and I'm going to take Garrett Anderson.
Yeah, I'll take GA for sure. Of course, he is a longtime Angel, and he had actually been there a few years by the time 02 rolled around. So Marsh is still got the rookie dust on him, if you will.
Is that what it's called? That's the official term.
That's the only thing I could think of off the top of my head. So again, I'm the writer. No, I'm just this one, Erstad or Trout in center field.
Listen, I'm a huge Erstad fan. In fact, I think that Darren Erstad would make a great Angels manager one day.
I know.
And so if Joe Maddon's not there, I think Erstad should be considered. I think Erstad is kind of like Jim Harbaugh. Remember when Harbaugh was coaching the San Francisco 49ers? They were great for like 3 years, and then the last year, they completely fell apart. And I think that Harbaugh is just so difficult and so hard on his players that they can survive for about 3 years, and then they're over him, right? And I feel like Erstad would kind of be that same guy. All that to say, again, this is an obvious choice. Mike Trout is going to be my center fielder.
You know, if they gave him the job, do you know what they would say?
You're the writer. What would they say?
They would say, Erstad says he's got it.
That's good. That's good. Move on.
Thanks for humoring me. All right.
You're welcome.
How about Tim Salmon or Taylor Ward in right field?
Now, again, this one I think is obvious, but Taylor Ward having a phenomenal year. But I'm going to go with Timmy Salmon because he's the Kingfish and he's my all-time favorite Angels player.
Of course. You can't have a team without Tim Salmon unless you're me. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm rolling the dice on Taylor Ward's 2022. I know that he has not been the prospect that everyone thought he would, but if this season continues the way that Ward is going, then that gamble will pay off. So I'm taking Taylor Ward. Hold on.
I'm getting a call.
Field.
I'm getting a call from it's Jeff Carr, our boss. He says you're off the show. Good grief. I can't believe you just said that out loud.
He's concerned with the Reds. No, I gotta change it up. You know what I mean?
No, you don't.
All right, third base, Troy Glaus or Anthony Rendon?
All right, so I actually, this is probably the first one that I've struggled with.
Really?
Because they're both really, really good. I actually looked up Gloss's career WAR, and I looked up Rendon's career WAR, and Rendon is going to surpass Gloss probably this year in career WAR. And I'm going to choose Anthony Rendon.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Now I'm getting a call from our boss, and he's kicking you off the show.
All right. Well, the rest of the show is going to be great.
Nobody's going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Troy Glass because I'm frustrated about Anthony Rendon's over 4 yesterday. So, but I will say, look, I completely agree with you that over the course of their careers, Rendon, of course, is going to have the higher WAR, but I'm waiting for Rendon to come around, and I know he will come around.
Yeah.
But if I got to take the sure thing, I already took a gamble with Taylor Ward, so I got to go with Troy Glass on this one. How about shortstop, David Eckstein or Andrew Velasquez?
I'm going to take Eckstein. You get a leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
You get a World Series MVP. You get somebody who is a fire starter. You get somebody who's humble, similar to Mike Trout, right? And he's also somebody that just is joyful. And so, if we could clone Eckstein, then I would put Eckstein back in there. I'm going to take him every single time.
I'm going to take Eckstein for all the reasons you said, and because he's got a bat. He can actually hit.
He can actually hit. Yep. Remember when Eckstein hit that grand slam? I think it was. Yeah, I don't even remember what year it was, but it was just like he had a stretch where he knocked in like 8 RBIs or 10 RBIs and had like 2 home runs. One was a grand slam, and we were like, "Who is this guy?" And just so much fun to watch. He was a great, great player.
Now, this one's a little bit tricky because we did get the news this week that there was an injury. So maybe we can kind of play both. Let's first start at second base with Adam Kennedy or David Fletcher, and then Adam Kennedy or Tyler Wade.
Okay. I'm going to take AK over both. Because Adam Kennedy, he's just a great second baseman. And I do like his bat. He'd always hit in the high 250s, low 260s, but that 3-homer game in the ALCS against the Twins in 2002, like no matter what he did after that, Adam Kennedy was going to be one of my favorite heroes on the Angels. So I'm going to take AK over both of those guys.
Yeah, I think AK is the sure thing for sure. I'm going to take him as well. How about at first base? This one is a little bit difficult for me.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, Scott Spiezio at first base was my favorite during that World Series run. During that whole season, really.
Oh, heck yeah.
So Spiezio or Jared Walsh, I think I got to go Spiezio. It's my heart talking.
Okay. Yeah.
The dude can mash.
He can. I'm going to take Walsh because I think what Spiezio brought to the team, Walsh has begun to bring that to the team currently because he's been able to come through in really important moments and hit game-winning home runs and knock in that game-winning or game-tying single against the Swooks a couple of games ago. And so I'm going to take Walsh. I also think that Walsh had better defense.
That's true.
Than Spiezio at first. I'm going to take Walsh at first base.
I mean, Spiezio's a slugger, really.
Right.
Like he's your classic first base slugger.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. How about Benji Molina or Max Stassi?
Okay, this one's easy. I'm going to say Molina.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Molina.
No.
Benji, all the way.
You get a gold glove. You get a good bat. He's great. I love the Molina brothers are great. I love them.
And, of course, designated hitter. Is it Michael Fulmer?
Brad Fulmer.
Brad Fulmer, that's right.
Yep.
Or Shohei.
I'm going to take Brett. No, I'm just joking. I'm going to take Shohei because I actually do want to stay on this show and I don't want to be just torched by everybody. So I'm taking Shohei.
I'm taking Shohei. Absolutely. All day Shohei.
Yeah.
Pitching, John Lackey or Noah Syndergaard?
Here's what's fun about this is both of these guys are fiery R-rated pitchers on the mound, right? Like,
could you imagine if Lackey had Twitter when he was pitching?
Oh, dear God. I actually am going to take John Lackey just because he's a Bulldog and because that rookie year was 0-2 for him and he's pitching game 7 for us and he is grinding it out in that game. And he had a really great career. So I'm going to take John Lackey.
I'm going to take, if we're going off of rookie Lackey versus Syndergaard now, I'm going to take Syndergaard simply because he's got the experience behind him. If this was 0-2 Lackey versus current Syndergaard has had one career behind him already, and now he's got a new career
learning how to pitch all over again.
Yeah, exactly. And he's tearing it up. So I'm going to go with Syndergaard. I'm going with Thor. All right. Closing pitcher, Troy Percival or Raisel Iglesias.
All right. Since I've already gotten kicked off the show, I'm just going to go for it here. I'm taking Raisel.
Okay.
And here's why I'm taking Raisel, because I love Percival. He's one of my favorite all-time Angels closers. But Percival would drive me nuts because he would walk 2 or 3 guys before he would actually get 3 outs. And so just for my mental health, I'm taking Raisel Iglesias.
Yeah, when Raisel Iglesias is on, he can get out of the inning with 9 pitches because he's thrown 3 strikes in a row to each batter.
Right.
And that's the kind of that's the kind of cranked up to 11 you want from your closer. So I'm going to take Raisel. So last one here, Mike. Do you want Mike Scioscia or Joe Maddon?
That's a good one. I'm going to take Scioscia because he's our Tommy Lasorda, right? He's our Dodgers Tommy Lasorda, and Mike has proven to be a proven manager, like a winning manager, and so I'm going to take Scioscia over Maddon, but it's close. It's really close.
I was having a good conversation with our nephew Tyler about the Angels, and we were talking about what's special about this 2022 team, and the reason why it's special is because it's a Joe Maddon team. And
agreed.
If we have to roll with the 2022 team, I'm going to take Joe Maddon because this one has been puzzle pieced together in Maddon's image. And he is working this team to a Joe Maddon T, if you will.
He is. That's good.
So that's who I'm going to take because this team is built for Joe Maddon.
Built different.
It's built different. Well, if you want a different Locked On baseball podcast to listen to, we appreciate you making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. But where should our listeners go for the second listen of the day?
They should listen to the Locked On MLB podcast hosted by Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call him Sully. That's what he asks. And so we will ask that for him as well. He brings his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present, and it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us to talk about the Rays game and have some fun picking and choosing between the 2002 players and the 02 players. If you want to follow us, you can find us on Twitter at Locked On Angels. And of course, you can also catch us at Super Halo Bros. That's where Mike and I can be found. And if you want to catch us on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube already, just search Locked On Angels in the search bar. Find our channel, make sure you subscribe and like the videos and share with your friends who should be Halo fans along with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What do we have on deck for tomorrow, Mike?
Tomorrow on Locked On Angels, John and I will give you our keys for the weekend series against the Oakland A's. And then we'll also share who we think the MVP of the bullpen actually is so far this season.
Ooh, I like that. Lots of good options this season as opposed to any other Angel season in the last 7 years.
Amen.
All right, y'all. Until next episode, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
And we'll see you right here tomorrow on Locked On Angels.